Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is a wonderful day. Today we are going to do this beautiful market bag slash beach bag, the bag that you will bring everywhere with you when you go out and you have stuff to pick. And oh, I love it. I've met twice, maybe three of them. I don't know where the third one, but I definitely will do some more. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Alice. I'm the crochet designer behind Madame D Crochet, and I've created my own crochet brand, Madame D Crochet, where I sell a lot of accessories, just like those beautiful rug counters that I am making in my workshop. So 100% made in France. If you want more info, you can check out my website in the description box below, and let's start the video. For this market bag, you will need 2 balls of yarn. I'm using the Seashell from Hobby Yarn and a crochet hook 4.5 millimeters. I'm also using some stitch markers. You need at least 5. Whether you're a beginner or not, I really recommend using stitch markers. I also need a yarn needle and a pair of scissors. We are going to do a slip knot, so twist the yarn around your fingers and make a knot. Insert your hook, and we are going to chain 31. Once you've got your chain done, I really recommend to put a stitch marker on the second stitch starting with your crochet hook. That means skip this stitch and put a stitch marker on this one. Now that you've got your stitch marker on, you're going to skip the first 2 stitches, so 1 and the one with the stitch marker, and starting on this stitch you are going to single crochet a total of 28 single crochet. So 1, put a stitch marker on the very first single crochet you have just made, and do 27 other single crochet for a total of 28 single crochet. Now that you have a total of 28 single crochet, you have 1 stitch left, 1 chain left on your chain, and you are going to single crochet 3 times in this very last chain. So 1, and I recommend to put a stitch marker on the last single crochet before this 3 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3. So you work half turn, and now we are going to work on the other side of the chain. This side is the side where you have made all the single crochet, and now you have the other side of your chain. We are going to single crochet 28 to make sure that your bag won't open in the very bottom of it. Instead of doing the single crochet in the 3rd loop or the other side of the loop, You're going to insert your hook on the loop from your previous single crochet row, and you're going to single crochet inside of it. And I recommend to put a stitch marker on the very first one you did. And insert your hook, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And keep continue until the end. If you look a little closer on this, you'll see that this creates a stronger part right here around your chain than if you just single crochet here. I will show you. If you single crochet here, I think you see the difference. You've got a stitch, a hole, or whatever you call, and if you single crochet here in this stitch, you've got this, which is a lot better. So let's single crochet 28 before the end of this row number 1. Now I've got 28 single crochet in this other side of my chain, and on the second chain that we skip, we are going to do 3 single crochet. Before that, I recommend to put a stitch marker on the very last single crochet that we did right here before doing 3 single crochet in this stitch with a stitch marker. So 1, 2, and 3. Now you are going to put a stitch marker on this last stitch, since this one is the last of the row number 1. Slip stitch in the first stitch of your row, and we are ready to begin row number 2. For row number 2, we are going to chain 1 that don't count as a stitch, and we are going to do 28 single crochet. So from this stitch marker until this stitch marker included, it will always be for each row single crochet, simple single crochet, and you put the stitch marker on the last single crochet. And I see you at the end here. So single crochet in 28 times in the next 28 stitches. Once you've got your 28 single crochet, so until the stitch marker, you can grab your stitch marker and put it back on your row. Now for the next 3 single crochet that we've got here, we are going to do increasing single crochet in each stitch of the row. So instead of having 3 single crochet, you're going to have 6. So 1 in the first stitch, 2 in the first stitch still, next stitch 1, 2, next stitch 1, 2. And now from this stitch marker until the other stitch marker, you're going to do a single crochet, and with the 3 other very last single crochet, you're going to do an increasing single crochet just like we did right here. And I see you there. We are on the very last 3 single crochet here before we end up our row number 2, and we are doing increasing single crochet in the very last one. And row number 2 is done. You can slip stitch and go for row number 3. For row number 3, you're going to chain 1 that don't count as a stitch and still do 28 single crochet. So from this stitch marker until the next one, I'm sorry. And I see you on the first corner. At each rows, the two round corners are worked the same way. So by now I will explain how to do the corners for rows, since when you close a row, you close by slip stitch, then chain 1, and then doing 28 single crochet. And then you have to work the corner, the first and the second corner, differently at each rows. So I'm going to explain that for each rows. For the corner of row number 3, you are going to single crochet in the first stitch and increased single crochet in the next one. So 1 and 2 in the same, then single crochet, increased single crochet, single crochet, and for the last, increased single crochet. And you're going to do 28 single crochet. You will do again single crochet, increased single crochet for the second corner, and I see you for row number 4. Now we are at the end of row number 3 and we start row number 4. So you slip stitch just like each rows, you chain 1 that don't count as a stitch, and you start with 28 single crochet, and I see you at the first corner. Now from this stitch of the corner, right after the stitch marker until the stitch before the stitch marker, you're going to do an increasing single crochet and 2 single crochet, increasing single crochet, 2 single crochet. So increasing single crochet means 2 single crochet in the same loop and 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. You're going to finish this corner this way, then 28 single crochet, and then the same for the other corner right here, from the stitch after the stitch marker until this stitch marker that is the last stitch of the row, and slip stitch in the first stitch of the row, chain 1, and we will see ourselves for the row number 5. Now for row number 5, you're going to single crochet from the very first stitch marker until the other one included. For all the stitches, the first after this stitch marker until the last before this stitch marker, you are going to do 3 single crochet and a single crochet increased. Then you're going from this stitch marker to this stitch marker, you're going to single crochet, still 28 single crochet, and do the same from one stitch after the stitch marker until the very last stitch. Here you are going to do 3 single crochet and single crochet increased. Now for row number 6, you're going to still do 28 single crochet, then you're going to do, after this first stitch marker, you're going to do increased single crochet, 4 single crochet until the stitch before this stitch marker. Then from the stitch marker to this stitch marker, you're going to do 28 single crochet. The stitch after the stitch marker, you are going to do single crochet increased, 4 single crochet until this very last stitch, and I see you for row 7. Now for row 7, still you're going to do 28 single crochet until this first stitch marker. Then after, you are going to do 5 single crochet, 1 single crochet increased until the last stitch before this stitch marker. From this stitch marker to this stitch marker, 28 single crochet, and then after, you are going to do 5 single crochet and single crochet increased until the very last stitch of the row, and I see you at row 8. Now for row number 8, we are going to do 28 single crochet, and then we are going to do increased single crochet, 6 single crochet, increased single crochet until the stitch for this stitch marker. Then from this stitch marker to this one included, you are going to do 28 single crochet, and then the stitch after the stitch marker, you are going to do increased single crochet and 6 single crochet until this very last stitch here, and I see you at row number 9. For row number 9, and I promise this is the very last increasing row, you are going to do 28 single crochet until this first stitch marker. Then starting at the first stitch after the stitch marker, you're going to do 7 single crochet, increased single crochet until the stitch here before this stitch marker. From this stitch marker to this one, you're going to have 28 single crochet, and from the stitch after the stitch marker until the very end here of your row, you're going to do 7 single crochet and increased single crochet, 7 single crochet, increased single crochet until the end right here, and we see ourselves at row 10. So now we are at row number 10, and for row number 10 we are going to single crochet in each stitch of the row, but only in the back loop. So single crochet in the back loop only for each stitch of the row, and I see you for row 11. Now from row 11 to row 17, we are going to single crochet in each stitch of the row, and you will create a little bit of length before we do the lace. I see you at the end of row 17 to make the lace together. Now we've just finished row 17 and we can start row 18, which is going to be the beginning of our lace. For row 18, we will start by chain 1, then single crochet in the first stitch of the row. You can put your stitch marker on this very first single crochet. Then we are going to chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to skip the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to slip stitch in the stitch number 5. No, not to slip stitch, but to single crochet. Sorry, single crochet. And that creates this kind of a hole. And you're going to repeat until the end of the row. So chain 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Skip the next 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Insert your hook in the stitch number 5 and single crochet until the end of the row. I see you at the end of row 8. Now we are at the very end of row 18. We chain 8 and we are going to slip stitch in the first stitch of the row. And we will be able to start row 19. For row 19, we are going to slip stitch in the next 4 chains in front of you. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we are going to chain 1 that don't count as a stitch and to single crochet in the center of this hole, and we will put our stitch marker on this single crochet. Now we are going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and single crochet in the center of the next hole. Single crochet. And continue all the way around until the end of row 19. So chain 8, single crochet in the center of the next hole, chain 8, etc., etc. At the very end, so you will single crochet here, chain 8, slip stitch in this first stitch of the row, and for all the other lace rows, so from row 19 to row 24, you're going to repeat the same. After slip stitch, you slip stitch here, you slip stitch 4 in the next 4 chains, chain 1, single crochet in the center, put your stitch marker on this first single crochet, chain 8, single crochet in the center of each holes, etc., etc. So repeat this from row 19 to row 24, and I see you at the end of row 24. Now we just finished row 27. I've already slip stitched in the first stitch of the row, and I can start row 25. For row 25, I'm going to start just like the previous rows, which means slip stitch in the next 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to chain 1, insert my hook in the middle of the hole and single crochet, and this is the first stitch of the row. Now for row 25, we are going to change to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the next hole or space of 8, chain 8, and you will continue until the end of the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet, and I see you at the end of row 25. Now I have slip stitched in the first stitch of the row, and we are going to start row number 26. for this, we're going to chain 1, and we are going to start in this single crochet right here. I'm going to zoom a little bit. And chain 1, don't count as a stitch, so we are going to single crochet in this stitch right here. Now, for this row, we are going to do 4 single crochet in each chain 4 that we have, and single crochet in each single crochet that we have. So here we got a chain 4, so we are going to single crochet 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then here we have a single crochet, so we are going to single crochet and can continue until the end of the row. We will see ourselves at the end of the row number 26 to start row 27. So at the end of row 26, you're going to slip stitch and start row 27, and from row 27 to row number 30, we are going to single crochet in each stitch of the row very simply. And I see you at the end of row 30 for the straps rows. Now that we have made all our single crochet rows, we are at row 31 and we can cut the yarn. Make sure that you did put a stitch marker right here, and you're going to count a total of 22 stitches and put the stitch marker on the stitch 23, starting at this stitch marker, which is the stitch marker from your first stitch of the row. So first stitch of the row is right here. You did cut the yarn. You count, starting from this first stitch of the row, 22 stitches. You go up here and you put a stitch marker on stitch number 23. Now you count from this stitch, you count a total of 20 stitches starting at this stitch marker, and you put a stitch marker on the stitch number 20. We are going to insert our hook on this stitch marker, and we are going to single crochet. This is the first stitch of row 31, sorry. And you're going to single crochet 20 stitches, so until the next stitch marker. Now we can take off this stitch marker. So now that we have our 20 single crochet, we are going to skip the next 35 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 32, 33, 34, 35, and we are going to put a stitch marker on stitch number 36. Right here. So from this, we are going to chain 75 before joining here, and this will be our first strap. Now that you have a chain 30, you're going to join on the stitch where you put your stitch marker with a single crochet,
So this is single crochet number 1, and we need a total of 20 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you have your 20 single crochet, you're back on this side of the bag, and you're going to chain again 70 and join in this very first stitch of the row. So you no longer need those stitch markers. You can wave in this end, chain 70, join here, and we will start row number 32 together. When you've got your chain 70, you can join on the first stitch of the row, and it's the end of row number 31. Now, from row number 32 to row 35, you are going to single crochet in each stitch of the row. That means each stitch right here, in each stitch of the chain right here, the single crochet stitch here, and the chain. You won't single crochet in this part that is in between the two beginning and ends of straps. So I see you at the end of row number 35, and that will be the end of our bag. Finally, I know this one was a little long, but also this was a tutorial that was asked for me to do, so I wanted to take time to do it. And because it's the end of the summer, I thought that it will be the great time. It's still time to go to the beach and grab your beautiful beach bag or market bag and put your swimsuits in it, and yeah, have great time before back to school. Now that row 35 is done, you can slip stitch in the first stitch of the row, take off the stitch markers, cut the yarn, and wave in the ends. And now we have a very beautiful, very good beach or market bag. I hope that you did enjoy the video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I see you in the next one. Bye!